Yo, can y'all hear me out there? Can y'all hear me? Greetings, and thank you for joining with us for this special episode of the Method Makers Podcast. For the past 8 years that I've personally gotten to know and work with my brother, Akira Beard, we talked about this very moment in time to actually tell his story. In this episode, we'll be diving deep into the almost 2 decades of work that Akira has continued to build. We're talking about the law of impermanence, his transition into becoming a tattoo artist, his childhood, his background, a deeper look into what inspires the art he creates, the navigation of challenges through life, and what's brought him into the space he's in now. We'll also be highlighting his work with the Eyewitnesses Meditation and Subconscious Sketch Project. So without any further delay, our conversation with my brother, Akira Beard. Enjoy. My comrade in arms, Akira Beard. Welcome, Akira, to the Method Makers Podcast. How are you today?
Good, man. Thanks for having me. Happy to be here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you good.
All right.
So, today we're going to be talking a little bit about your body of work, what inspires it. You and I have had many conversations about the same topic, I think, over the course of the 8 years that we've known each other. But for the folks out there who may not be familiar with your work, maybe we can talk a little bit about your process, what inspires some of the work that you're doing, and then we can talk a little bit about the Eyewitnesses Project. But maybe to start, you can tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from.
It's funny. All these questions are never like simple answers, even where I'm from. I guess I'd say I'm from California, like born in Japan, but arrived in the U.S. around the age of 3. Basically, grew up in California. For college, I went to the Bay Area, went to Berkeley, then art school in San Francisco, and then ended up staying there for 15 years. Never planned on becoming a professional artist, but that's what happened. And most recently, jumping to the present, I'm here in Florida tattooing, starting a career in that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I would ask, what's your, I guess maybe the most recent thing, can you talk a little bit about your transition from being an artist that went from mainly making artwork in a studio, illustrations and canvases, to now becoming a professional tattoo artist? What's that transition been like for you?
It's been both exciting, challenging, and it's been pretty rough. But then it's also been very rewarding on the other side of that. The rough part is it's like anything, like that you have no background in, anything that's new. There's no point of reference. You have to learn it. For me, it's learning it from scratch. So there's a ton to learn because I really came into it knowing nothing. I've never been into a tattoo shop other than right before I started the apprenticeship. Didn't have any tattoos until after, after the apprenticeship. So it's been really amazing. There's been a natural transition from, I guess, my relationship with being an artist and art making into tattooing at the same time. And that's more about, I guess, the philosophical or the conceptual side of being an artist, where there's the medium itself, right, with tattooing. And that's the challenging part. I have to learn how to use the tools. But then I guess the side that comes more naturally to me, it's an extension of the artwork that I'm always, making, which has to do with like working with, using art as a way to discover myself. And tattooing has been no exception to that. It's just another medium where, yeah, man, like the experiences with clients, tattooing, people, that whole thing. It's I've learned a lot about myself and the world, just like I have been with art making, doing painting and drawing. So.
Yeah, I could imagine it posing a brand new challenge for you. And I remember when you had started your journey there. Well, first of all, I remember it must have been in Grass Valley. We went to go visit you in your studio, and at that time, I think we were talking about how you were thinking about going into tattooing. And I will say in my mind, the time that I recall talking to you about it, I don't think in my mind I said to you what I was really thinking. And I was like, that's fucking crazy. Because I was just thinking that's like a difficult thing to do. I have some friends who are tattoo artists that have been doing it for a really long time. And I would say that the experience of making marks on skin versus on paper and canvas could be extremely difficult. You're dealing with, you know, we talk a lot about the law of impermanence. Tattooing is, does that bode with the side of the law of impermanence, or is it actually permanent? You know, like
Well, it's permanent in one way, right?
mhm,
But the body is always changing. The tattoo's on the skin, so the
mhm.
tattoo changes with the skin, right?
Yeah,
So you do a really small tattoo, it might look really cool, like for the first year, 2 years. The body, the skin's changing, you know, with just growing, wrinkling, like the sun
mhm.
affecting it. Next thing you know, that little tattoo, it's not so cool anymore. Can't even tell what it is. You know?
Yep,
Like
yep.
that. It's, I mean, no, nothing's an exception to impermanence and change.
That's true. That's true. But yeah, so I just remember, you know, when we were having this conversation, I want to say it was Grass Valley, because your transition uh, from Florida, was that Grass Valley first, or was it a different part
Yeah,
of the Bay Area?
no. Like for a year and a half before Florida happened, um, is a recovery period for me. So I was like, you know, I was in the forest in Grass Valley,
Hmm.
uh, going through recovery, and then it was kind of like the recovery. It just reached a point, you know, I guess where I recovered, I guess, and the opportunity, the idea from, you know, a friend, my friend Sek Adam, he came up with this idea about tattooing, and so I didn't know what I was getting into, but I said yes.
Yeah,
That's kind of how it goes, you know.
yeah.
I almost have a bad habit of that, and I don't regret it. But yeah, trust me, man. That first year, there was at least, I'd say once, definitely once, maybe twice, where I was second guessing myself. Like, man, this is just, I don't know if this is for me. You know, it's hard, man. Really
Hmm.
hard. It continues to be, but not like it was those first 6, 8 months. You know.
So would you say that, what do you think helped get you through to get to where you are now?
Well, I'd say it's the first time in my life where, you know, I think I've been apprehensive or intimidated by actually having concrete goals. And I've just been more organic. It's kind of like, you know, a resistance to having a calendar, that type of thing. And so I guess just kind of really trying to own that, like having an actual goal. And that really, it's like a compass, a point of reference to come to. You know, the compass, it gives a direction. And it's just trying to stay on course with that. The other part of that, I think, is just kind of desperation. You know, I mean, I can give myself credit. There's definitely courage in it. And then on the rational side, you know, like borrowing a lot of money from a friend, and I got to pay it back. You know what I mean? So it's like I got to make money doing this as well,
Yep.
and so I could not only, you know, build a future for myself, support myself, my life, and my art. That's, you know, I really want. That's one of the goals with tattooing. But yeah, I got to pay my buddy back. You know, so it's
Yeah.
like I want to quit, and that actually crossed my mind. I'm like, okay, I go back to California. I work for UPS or something. Man, that's gonna take me like 20 years just to pay my friend back or something. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I'm exaggerating, but it went through my head.
Yep.
So it's like, no, just keep doing what you're doing. Just have faith, you know, like trust in the process. And, you know, like this is how it goes. You've been here before in different ways. And this is why, you know, like it's easy. A lot of people, I think, at some point just give up on something that's, you know, just full of challenges. It's just, it kind of like, it really tests you. You know what I mean? Like, do you have the perseverance and the commitment, or don't you, and the strength?
Yep.
So, yeah, man. So far, so good.
Yeah, that's good. No, I will say that without a doubt, I have 128,000% confidence in your level of skill and your ability to progress. I remember seeing some of the first tattoos that you've been text messaging me up until the ones that you've been posting on your own Akira Inc.'s Instagram page, and the things that you just offshoot send me. Amazing work, dude. And to even see some of your work, your actual artwork come to life on skin, amazing, dude, in such a short period of time. That I personally want to have some of your work on me. We'll figure that part out when you're back in California, or maybe when we take the Airstream down to Florida, we'll figure it out and see. And Remy actually wants the same. So, but yeah, man, I'm excited about what you have going on, your journey. And yeah, I can't say enough, man. I'll continue to butter your bread, but it'll get really soggy pretty quick. So let's get to the next thing. Let's talk a little bit about your work. Some of the folks here that are going to be looking at your work on the Design Labs website. Talk a little bit about, how you got into art. Talk about your creativity. You can start wherever you want. It's up to you.
Yeah, man. Like, that's both an easy question to answer and it's a complex one at the same time. The easy part is I've been drawing my entire life. I'm actually impressed by that, not in a vain way, but like before I could write that alphabet, I was already drawing. The part I'm impressed when I look back, like, like everyone goes through these different chapters in their life. Like you're the rebellious teenager, you're like, like the wandering, I guess, young adult. You don't know what you really want to do with your life. Maybe you go to junior college, maybe you don't, or whatever. So like myself, it was just, regardless of who I was always drawing. I'd be at a party, party ends at 3 a.m. or whatever. I'm at some person's kitchen table where I don't live, like drawing pictures when the party's over. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Stuff like that. And at some point I end up in art school, and this is where it gets complex because, in art school, I discovered, wow, there's an actual process, tradition, like to this drawing thing, to this language. And I began to learn it. And I met some really incredible people, including, one friend, Christopher, who became a mentor. And the beautiful thing about that relationship was he really opened my eyes to the possibility where you can use the techniques with making art, with making visual art, and you can use it as a medium to begin to know who you are. And that, for me, that was an essential thing. Like, I was just, emotionally, mentally, I was a mess, and that has to do with my background growing up. And so, while my peers, generally speaking, at school, they were like, in the process of trying to become professional artists, develop careers, portfolios, I was excited, man, to take these techniques I was learning and to use it as a means towards introspect. Literally using it. My very first body of work was, for like 2 years, was looking at myself in the mirror and making drawings and paintings from them. In spaces in between, doing journal writing and then putting those writings on those paintings. You know what I mean? Stuff like that.
Just incredible, dude.
Yeah.
Sorry, just incredible work. Sorry, I have to just say.
Well, that's the first. So that's the first body of work. And like again, that friend Christopher, the mentor, at the time, he gave me a model, and it began with self. The second part was culture, and then following nature. And it was kind of, that was 2003 when that started. So that was my first body of work, and that's the transition from just drawing pictures for the sake of drawing pictures, which is what I had been doing like growing up, towards this other thing where like art now had a very kind of distinct function in my life. It gave me a sense of purpose, like where I got possessed by the thing. I wake up, first thing I'm thinking about is to go further into myself with drawing and painting. And it gave me a tremendous sense of meaning in the long run, I mean, that's, for me, that's my substance. It's like through this personal development with all the art I've made over, I guess, 17 years now, you know?
Yeah.
So
It's incredible, dude.
Yeah, it continues to go further in. I've stepped away from it somewhat because of tattooing, because I focused so much on the internal world. So I guess these past few years, it's about making an effort towards the external world, actually making a living, supporting myself, like, you know, material wise, financially. And that's where tattooing comes in, you know?
Yeah. It's beautiful, man. No, I feel like the thing I love about your story is that a lot of us don't take that time to go internally and actually face those things that we may or may not understand are subconsciously at another level, where, you know, there could be something super amazing that people don't know. It's just like a dormant monster hiding. And I say monster in the most beautiful sense, you know, like could be this, you know, amazing figure skater, somebody who just is out there watching figure skating, and they do it for fun, and they know that they could get really good if they just develop their time. And maybe it took some internal thinking and some internal deep meditation to see and feel that, you know. And lo and behold, they finally realize their dream and they're way too old. And then it becomes something where, well, shit, I can't do this anymore. And so they have to think of a new dream. But for you, it's like your path, your journey, when you talk about it, it makes a lot of sense. And when I see the reason I've worked with many artists over the course of the last 2 decades that I've been doing my thing. And the reason I feel like not only are we good friends, but I'm so interested in learning more about your work and taking the time to do this is because you have something to say, and you have something that I think resonates with people who are trying to understand more about themselves and understand more about this this journey of life. You know, like it was through conversations with you that I started to understand more about the law of impermanence. And then looking into it, I discovered a lot of different things about that. And then, which also led me to this sort of metaphysical study, and also Vipassana and meditation. And so it's gotten to me, you know, it's helped me become the person that I am today. And I feel like every time you and I have a conversation, it's like, I feel like I'm talking to like my older brother about life and, you know, life experiences and how these things shape our world. And they become conversations that I feel like the entire world should actually hear what we're talking about. Like you and I are just talking as friends. Like really, this is like how we actually talk. And it's so funny, like before we were doing these Zoom calls, I was literally driving home from work, and you and I would talk for like an hour. And, you know, at the end of the conversation, we'd always joke around and say, oh, we should have been recording this. Imagine if we actually recorded this. And here we are recording this. So it's beautiful, man. I think it's awesome. I think it's going to be a treat for whoever's able to watch this or listen to this, whatever medium you're listening to right now. So yeah, so I think I won't keep you too long on this, because I think we want to also allow for the viewer that's looking at your work to be able to be curious about it and have their thoughts and their ideas. And I'm not even sure what we're going to be posting on the site. I don't even know if any of that work's already been created yet. You know, we're talking in the past. You guys are listening in the future. Currently, Akira and I are in the present. So we're going to do what we do. And I don't know, I guess there's not really much more to say. I guess we could always cut and loop and edit and add additional things here. But is there anything that you want to convey about your work? Anything that you want to say to the audience while you have their attention?
Oh man, I think that was pretty much it. In regards to a soundbite, you know, like an overall picture, I felt like that painted it pretty well.
Yeah.
Surprisingly.
Yeah. Shit, man, we should just like listen to that lo-fi beat stuff before we do anything. maybe the creepy videos and, like, you know. Someone said, like, there was a soundbite that said like, your daughter's dead or something. I don't know if you heard that, but like then like the beat drops in, it's like, oh shit, I want to rap. Anyway, I don't know if this is going to end up on the podcast or in the video or whatever, if it is or if it isn't. Thanks everybody for joining and taking the time to be with us here on the Method Makers podcast. I'm your host, Neil. Check us out on methodmadedesign.com. I don't even remember the URL. It's not even up yet. Anyway, doesn't matter. Check us out either way. All right, y'all. Thank you for listening to this edition of the Method Makers podcast. Be sure to check out themethodmakers.com to learn more about all the artists we support. Check out all the links below to dive deeper into the projects that the artist is currently working on. Remember to subscribe to our podcast for your constant dose of the Method Makers, courtesy of the Method Made Design Lab. Peace to you and yours, and we'll catch you soon.